Introduction: What G.O.A.T Wisdom is Really About. G.O.A.T Wisdom is a business book written by Dr. Brent Ridge and Josh Kilmer-Purcell, founders of Beekman 1802, a lifestyle brand that grew from a small goat farm into a thriving company. The title refers to the greatest of all time wisdom they learned, mostly from old proverbs, family sayings, and lived experience that guided them through building a business that lasts. The book is grounded in both timeless principles and real stories from the author's journey, and it stresses that you don't need huge funding or celebrity status to create something meaningful. Instead, success comes from clarity of purpose, hard work, kindness, and smart decisions. At its heart, G.O.A.T Wisdom frames entrepreneurship not just as strategy and metrics, but as a way of living deliberately and wisely. Each guiding idea in the book is tied to a traditional maxim, simple sayings that have been passed down through cultures and generations. These sayings become powerful lenses through which business choices and life choices are examined. The book combines personal stories, historical context for each proverb, examples from other notable entrepreneurs, and reflective exercises that help readers apply these ideas to their own path. The author's voice is humble and conversational. They share both their triumphs and their missteps, making the wisdom relatable and actionable. Their aim is not to present a rigid framework, but to help readers find clarity, resilience, and courage on a long or uncertain entrepreneurial path. With a focus on kindness, purpose, and real human connections, this book bridges age-old wisdom with the modern challenges of building a business that matters. Beginning with roots, the story behind the wisdom. Before diving into the principles, Ridge and Kilmer-Purcell set the stage with their own story. Both of them came from backgrounds far from Silicon Valley or typical entrepreneurial hubs. One brought medical and academic training, the other creative and advertising experience. When the recession hit in 2008, they found themselves at a crossroads and chose to return to a farm rooted in heritage and meaning. On that farm, Beekman Farm in upstate New York, they began making goat milk soap, and from that humble start, the company Beekman 1802 emerged. Their journey was neither linear nor easy. They had no grand business plan or venture funding. They learned through experimentation, failure, and keen observation of both success and painful mistakes. Their early decisions included tasks as basic as taking product photos themselves, figuring out logistics on their own, and negotiating space on national shopping channels. In these hands-on experiences, they learned lessons about delegation, resourcefulness, and resilience. This entrepreneurial beginning is important because it frames every principle in the book. The wisdom they share isn't abstract theory. It was forged through adversity, curiosity, and everyday decisions that shaped a business and a life. Instead of polished business jargon, the authors bring forward practical insights based on real problems and solutions they lived through. Wisdom to warm you twice: delegation and responsibility. The first chapter is centered on the proverb, "Chop your own wood and it will warm you twice." This saying teaches that when you do the hard work yourself, you benefit twice. First, in the result, and second, in the learning that comes from doing it. For entrepreneurs, this idea is closely tied to delegation and responsibility. Early on, the authors handled many tasks themselves, even ones they knew little about, like product photography or shipping logistics. Doing this themselves helped them understand the essence of each task, which later helped them delegate more wisely. Rather than seeing delegation as simply outsourcing work, the authors frame it as responsible delegation. You first understand the work well enough to know what good looks like, and only then do you trust others with it. This approach allows leaders to maintain quality while freeing up time for bigger strategic work. The lesson is that good leadership isn't about doing everything alone, but about consciously choosing what to learn personally and what to entrust to others. Beekman 1802's story illustrates that when founders understand all the parts of their business, even the mundane ones, they are better equipped to grow a team. This perspective shifts delegation from being a burden to a strategic advantage. When the well is dry, budgeting and resourcefulness. The next lesson comes from when the well is dry, we know the worth of water. This proverb speaks to budgeting, being scrappy, and allocating resources wisely. For many new businesses, resources are scarce. Ridge and Kilmer Purcell learned to treat money, time, and attention as precious. They became scrappy, finding creative solutions that didn't cost much but delivered meaningful results. This idea goes beyond cents and rupees. It's about optimizing energy and focus where it matters most. When a resource runs low, its true value becomes clear, and that awareness can fuel better decisions. The authors reflect on moments when they had little cash but poured everything into high-impact areas like direct customer engagement or meaningful product innovation. Often, scarcity led them to do things smarter, not just cheaper. They also stress that being scrappy isn't about cutting corners, it's about prioritizing long-term sustainability over fleeting gains. Resourcefulness becomes a strategic edge when the larger world is fixated on fast growth or hype. Beekman 1802's growth in the midst of recession exemplifies how constraint can be a powerful teacher and differentiator in business strategy. The tools we use, learning and growth. The book then shifts to "A bad workman blames his tools," a universal maxim about personal responsibility and growth. In business, that means looking inward first when something goes wrong, rather than blaming external conditions, technology, trends, partners, or competitors. Leaders should ask what they can learn and improve. The authors reflect on moments when they faced setbacks due to lack of preparation or understanding. Instead of avoiding the lesson, they embraced it. This philosophy extends to constantly building one's own knowledge, asking questions, and being humble enough to admit gaps in understanding. In practice, this might mean learning new skills, staying open to feedback, or restructuring internal processes to prevent repeated errors. Central to this idea is a growth mindset, cultivating curiosity, embracing challenges, and acknowledging the stakes as opportunities to learn, rather than threats to self-worth. It's a fundamental approach not only to business problems, but to life itself. Make hay while the sun shines. Seizing opportunities. Another timeless maxim the authors explore is "make hay while the sun shines." This is about seizing opportunities promptly and not letting good conditions slip away. Business environments change quickly, and waiting too long to act can turn a great opportunity into a missed one. In the early years, the authors had opportunities to expand Beekman 1802 into new sales channels and markets. They learned that acting decisively when conditions are favorable, while also understanding risk, can accelerate growth more effectively than prolonged hesitation. Importantly, action doesn't mean recklessness. It means boldness that's informed by understanding, not fear. This principle encourages entrepreneurs to evaluate possibilities not just logically, but with courage and speed. It also teaches an important balance. Take advantage of good moments, but avoid chasing every shiny new opportunity that arises without evaluation. Staying focused in a noisy world. The proverb, "An empty vessel makes the most noise," forms the basis for a chapter on focus and intentional attention. In the modern business environment, noise is everywhere. Trends, opinions, media buzz.